You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Sex and drugs were like putting their mind off of things, and then with the decrease in that, they're more focused on like school, friends, family, maybe things at home couldn't be going so well, things like that.
Teenagers are feeling more depressed, but the numbers of them having sex or doing drugs are going down. Is there a connection? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the state of mind of teenagers in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. Last night, we reported on the murder of a woman found dead in her home in Sarasota. Tonight, her husband is in custody. Police have identified the victim as 47-year-old Blanca Sanders. Sanders was stabbed several times in the stomach and her throat was slashed. Police are now charging her husband, 39-year-old Spencer Sanders, with murder.
We have been to this house before. We responded in May of this year for domestic battery as well, and we actually charged the same individual with domestic battery by strangulation.
Spencer Sanders was scheduled to have his first appearance in front of a judge today, but refused to go. This is the city's third homicide of 2018. A diving trip turns deadly off of Nokomis Beach late this morning. A diver went missing about a mile off of Minnesota Beach around 10 a.m. and has now been confirmed dead by the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. The diver was 61-year-old James Little, who lived in Venice his entire life. Sarasota's medical examiner is now determining the cause of death. HUD Secretary Ben Carson on the Suncoast today, taking part in a book giveaway for children living in subsidized housing. Carson is a former neurosurgeon and author who ran for president in 2016. With a shortage of affordable housing units, one of Carson's priorities is helping subsidized housing tenants become self-sufficient and ensuring children are reading at grade level, which can be critical to their future success.
I celebrate what's been done by the group here, the way that they've been able to work together, educational, as well as the city council, the mayor, the police, public housing authorities. These are the kinds of things that work in our society.
Carson worked with the program Book Rich Environment for today's event. Local libraries, the Sarasota Community Foundation, and the Education Foundation of Sarasota County all support the program. And you might remember on Monday's show we discussed public beaches going private. Today, Governor Rick Scott issuing an executive order urging counties to protect public beach access. The order calls on counties not to limit access to beaches. Several pro-choice and gay rights groups gathering at the state capitol today, calling on Florida Senators Bill Nelson and Marco Rubio to oppose the nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court. Earlier this week, Kavanaugh was nominated by President Trump to replace retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. On the nation's highest court, rallying in front of the Florida Supreme Court, progressive activists said Kavanaugh's judicial record is too extreme and does not reflect the values of most Floridians.
Make no mistake about it, the right to access abortion safely and legally in this country is absolutely on the line. Planned Parenthood and our allies are vigorously opposed to the nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh for this lifetime seat on the Supreme Court.
Protesters also chided Kavanaugh for his opinions on gay rights issues and for the Affordable Health Care Act, saying there is a possibility the law known as Obamacare could be overturned. Now let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the First Alert forecast. Bob.
Only a few today, Alan. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms, most of it along I-75 or east. There were just one or two lone showers that made it to the west, but a little bit of rainfall near State Road 70 and I-75 in north portions of Lakewood Ranch, but sunny out there currently, and it looks to be a pretty nice evening up and down the coast, and not many storms anticipated for the late night, maybe one or two popping up here and there. We have some activity well into Highlands County, just one lone storm into southern portions of Highlands. We had some rain near Northport too. Brought some pretty heavy rain, short period of time there, all the way up to Ellenton, and we had some heavier storms into East Manatee County. That's over 1.5 inches reported right there in just a short period of time. That was this afternoon. Nothing really going on now. Northport getting about a 1/2 inch of rain estimates from the Doppler radar site. The evening planner looks to be pretty good, albeit warm, because There's not a lot of cooling showers around right now. 78 degrees expected temperature at 11 o'clock tonight. And we'll see just a few, as I said, isolated showers still possible through up until about 11, 12 o'clock. Some dry air to the north, high pressure off into the Gulf of Mexico, keeping a west to southwest wind. It is very light, and that means not much rain anticipated even on Friday. The rain chances staying below seasonal averages for this time of year. And as we look at the futurecast, showing just a few isolated cells I mentioned inland and maybe one or two along the coast later on tonight. But it should stay rather quiet. Be sure to download our ABC7 First Alert weather app. Keeps you safe throughout the storm season. And looks like right now not a big issue, but we will see the storm is back over the weekend. We'll have more on that coming up with our 7-day forecast. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. A new report by the Centers for Disease Control says teenagers are having sex and doing drugs, but they're feeling less, but they're also feeling more depressed. Why? And how about here on the Suncoast? ABC7's Taylor Taragano is here with more. Taylor.
Good evening, Alan. Every year, the CDC interviews several of thousands of students across the country to gather this information. These high school students are reporting that bullying is common at school, which may be part of the reason why so many kids are feeling sad and hopeless. I talked to a teenager who tells me at Sarasota High School, there are the groups who are still into sex and drugs, but a growing group of students have other priorities.
I didn't really know as much of what was going on, but if that were to happen as a teenager, it would definitely have a stronger impact on my life, I would think.
Taryn Darley says at just 8 years old, she was too young to feel the impacts of her own parents' divorce. But trouble at home is the first reason she gave for her classmates' depression.
Through like their parents' home problems, like parents getting divorced, I can see where like that can affect kids, especially at these older ages.
As far as sex, drugs, and depression, Darley sees a connection.
The kids that aren't doing sex and drugs are more focused on what's actually going on around them, I would say.
And more focus can result in more stress and anxiety. Granted, some may be thinking they're just kids. What exactly do they have to be depressed about?
Kids are concerned about the threat of violence. They're concerned about their emotional well-being, and there's a bit of hopelessness that's going on for many students, almost 1 out of 3, and we need to support them better, and in many respects.
The CDC's annual report on teen behavior shows just that. 1 in 3 students reported having persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness, which could be attributed to the 1 in 5 who reported being bullied at school, or the 1 in 10 female students who reported they've been physically forced to have sex. And for males, it's 1 in 28.
That's for lack of a better way of putting it, a sobering thought that we really need to provide a sense of hope for our youth. And part of it is establishing stronger connections and relationships. And it needs to start in the home, and it needs to start in our schools.
PJ Brooks is the Vice President of Outpatient and Youth Services for First Step Sarasota. He works hand in hand with Sarasota High School to help alleviate some of these issues.
They worked with us to put a full-time intervention specialist on their campus, a student assistance specialist that works specifically with these issues to do early intervention.
Counseling to keep these students from turning to drugs, alcohol, or worse. But Brooks reiterated what Taryn saw too. This all starts at home.
Every teenage kid's going to go through sad times and happy times. I think the most important thing is that they know they've got someone who's always got their back.
Marla Yeagers calls herself the lunch lady at Sarasota Middle School, but she's also a mother of a 14, 21, and 23-year-old. Her strategy for raising 3 healthy boys? Simple. Always be there for them.
I want them to know they have my full attention and they're going to get the truth. I've always told my kids, you're always going to get the truth with me. So I make sure that when they ask me a question, something happened at school today, someone showed me something in their book bag, I'm always like, tell me more about that. How did you react to that?
It's that support which serves as a foundation for teens who leave home ready to take on the world. And the ones who are staying away from sex and drugs say their support system is what keeps their head on straight.
Good background, good family, good friends. It's who you surround yourself with, I think.
The survey found 41% of high school kids said they have had sex, down from about 47% over much of the last decade. I've put a link to the entire report and more resources for all of you parents watching at home on our website. Just visit mysuncoast.com.
Taylor, thank you. Coming up in a moment, one of the Suncoast's best drug and alcohol counselors and psychologists. Stay with us.
Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean works on all CPAP machines and popular masks, destroying CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and in just minutes, voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398. Or visit SoClean.com today.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Welcome back. Do you remember Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign? It's taken a long time, but apparently it has worked in a big way. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, since 1991, teenagers grades 9 through 12 have sex is down 39.5% from 54% in 1991. The numbers of teens using drugs like cocaine and heroin is down over 22% since 2007. But on the other hand, the number of teens who say they have been bullied at school is up 19% since 2009, and the numbers of kids who say that they're depressed is up from 28.7% in 2007 to 31.5% now. Joining us for more are PJ Brooks from First Step and Dr. Eddie Renier, our psychologist in Sarasota. And PJ, I'll start with you because you said something in Taylor's story that caught my attention, that at this stage you have at least one drug and alcohol counselor in Sarasota High School and other schools around here. But I would imagine a lot of districts, school districts in Florida, you can't say the same thing.
You can't, and it's unfortunate. We've really worked. Our organization made a commitment that this was something that the school wanted, and we wanted to make sure it happened. And it's been wildly successful in terms of the reduction in suspension and expulsions, and actually the kids being able to access care. And you know, it's a model. I think that it's not First Step's model, because it's a model that's being used in other parts of the country that I think could easily be replicated around the state.
Dr. Raniero, what profound difference can that make in a young person's life?
It can be everything. Children look for guidance, they look for mentorship. And if there's a person trained in the psychology of a child around, that kid is going to gravitate to that person and talk to them and bond with them. Then they're going to get accurate information about themselves, about their growth patterns, what's going on in their lives. And that information often can make a difference in what kind of decisions they make. So this is really critical.
Broad question, the numbers that we suggested that drug and alcohol use are down, but depression and bullying are up, does that surprise you in any way?
Well, our world has changed. Kids are developing much slower. They're less sophisticated. We're also living in an age of information, so at a fingertip, pushing a button, they can get information on all sorts of things. Sex, drug use, number of suicides. They all are infinitely more informed about those things. At the same time, they're the most cut off socially, that their friends are on some sort of, is a text pattern rather than a real human being.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up on our conversation, the state of mind of teenagers. It will continue right after we get a check on our First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Good evening, everyone. We are watching the review of what happened out here in Casey Key. A pretty calm day out on the water. Seas running less than 2 feet. Smooth conditions out there, too. Well, once in a while, you'll see some clouds streaming overhead. That's due to the wind flow pattern in the upper levels anyway, from the east to the west, while we have at the surface a westerly component, which favors inland storms. We're seeing that right now with some storms over Highlands County. Not much near the coast at this time. We will see 1 or 2 lone showers popping up over the next several hours, but most areas staying dry tonight. And if you have any activities outdoors, should not be a big concern. Had a little light rain earlier across parts of the Sun Coast, but the heavier rain was east of I-75, and it wasn't much. There's some spotty areas. Did get some heavier rainfall in east central portions of Manatee County. And the Futurecast confirms that high pressure at the surface will allow for some light winds, a little bit of an onshore flow throughout the day tomorrow, which does bring us, as the sea breeze starts to develop, a little bit of activity right near the coast, but not much. And then the heaviest storms will be inland along the spine of the peninsula with the convergence of the east and west coast sea breeze taking shape there. Pretty quiet for Saturday, too, although maybe a little bit more activity over South Florida. And as far as tropical activity goes, not much to worry about for the United States. We have a trough of low pressure that's diving through the Carolinas and Georgia right now. That is carrying the moisture of what was Beryl off to the northeast. There's still some chance in the next 3 to 4 days that this could reform, but it's not going to be a factor for us. Bermuda could have some problems, but not much at all, as the system isn't expected to gain too much strength as it moves off to the north and northeast in time. Well, for us, we are looking at the tropical season being a little bit below average because of the main development region. Unusually cool. This is an area that's typically we watch for very warm temperatures like we saw last year, and that meant huge storms developing. We had 6 major hurricanes last year, and because of this factor and the factor that we have El Nino expected to develop in August and September, even in October, which causes quite a bit of shear to take place, the numbers could go down even further. We're only anticipating 1 major hurricane this year as a result of that. And on top of the shear, this is the shear forecast, and we're expecting strong easterly winds too all throughout the Caribbean for the rest of July. That's some of the long-range models predicting that. And with that in mind, July, if you look at the Julys in the past when it's been very strong winds in the eastern Caribbean and the western Caribbean, the rest of the hurricane season is below average. That's another factor. So looking pretty good, but all it takes is 1 storm and to move on into our coast to make it a very active hurricane season. So still, you have to plan and prepare for the possibility of one. Temperatures right now warmer than average because of the lack of rainfall that's not happening right now. 87 degrees, the water temperature. It's 87 in Mayaca City, 88 in Arcadia. And our current conditions, we have 86, and the dew point temperature is still fairly high at 74. 91 the high today, 1 degree above it. the average, and low was 1 degree below it. So on average, we were right at it, 75 and 90 for the temperatures today. Well, the forecast tomorrow does call for a slight chance for a coastal shower, but heat indices will be up near 100 degrees beginning as early as noon tomorrow and continuing all the way through 4 p.m. Because of the lack of rainfall, temperatures will stay unseasonably warm. Typically, when these storms move through, it cools things down into the 70s, but that hasn't happened. 98, though, it's hotter in Kansas City than it is here, and 91 in St. Louis. A forecast for boaters staying smooth out there. So we'll have mostly smooth conditions, seas running less than 2 feet. In the extended forecast calling for a slight chance tomorrow, 40% chance on Saturday and Sunday, so a pretty good weekend ahead, albeit hot as you would expect for mid-July. We'll have much more. Alan will be back right after this.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault and you're struggling to pay your bills while your case is dragging on, that's where Oasis Financial comes in. Only Oasis has Oasis Express Cash that can get you from $500 to $25,000 in as little as 24 hours, faster than anyone else. There's no risk and no out-of-pocket cost.
It was so simple. I made one phone call. Oasis was able to give me the money within 24 hours.
To pay for my electric bill, my rent, and my groceries for my children.
And even if you end up losing your case, Oasis lets you keep the money, so there's absolutely no risk to you. You don't have to worry about repaying Oasis.
If I had lost my case, then I wouldn't be responsible for paying the money back. And that was a blessing.
Oasis, they killed it, man. They helped me out. They gave me my life back.
See how much money you can get before your case settles. Call Oasis Financial, because life moves faster than your case. 1-800-874-8185. 1-800-874-8185.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Welcome back. We're talking about a new study that shows that sex and drugs are down when it comes to teenagers, but depression and bullying are up. And joining us for more are PJ Brooks from First Step and Dr. Eddie Renier, our psychologist locally. And let's take this one at a time. We saw the dramatic decrease in terms of drug and alcohol use among teenagers since 1991. I half-heartedly joked at the outset, is this because Nancy Reagan's just say no to drugs? PJ, it looks over the long haul that, it's been, drug use has gone down.
I'd say that we are seeing some trends in that regard because we're seeing more and more communication about it. But we're also seeing kids are, and it kind of fits with the description of depression, kids are less engaged in the community, so maybe their exposure to things is less because they're not as out in the community as much, they're staying home more, and they're doing things that are home-based or unfortunately phone-based. maybe, smartphone based. But I think that there is a level of awareness that kids are becoming. They're taking it upon themselves to educate themselves. I think they have the mechanism to do so, and I think they're trying to do so as well.
But Eddie, teenagers being teenagers, they're prone to be doing stupid things.
Well, they do, except it happens in their bedroom, in front of their TV and smartphones. I think that our world's changed, as I was saying before, and one of the ways it's changed is that our kids are more immature. They're more age appropriate. Whereas in the past, we wanted to drive as quickly as possible. We wanted to be at parties. We wanted to drink. We wanted to be like adults. Whereas today, our kids really don't want that. They don't want to learn to drive. And part of it is because we have done a better job parenting. We have been better parents.
But let me ask you about that, because we also report sex among teenagers are down. But you said that a lot of stupid things that our teenagers could be doing, it could be in the bedroom with the cell phone and so forth. I remember being at the FBI Citizens Academy a couple of years ago with their cyber crimes division, and they showed us what they are seeing, and some of it in terms of chat rooms and what teenagers are doing is downright scary.
That's true. But what you do behind a screen can't harm you immediately. So we're not seeing that. What we're seeing, though, is the social isolation that's leading to depression, the divorces, the family conflicts are causing other problems. And since the kids are cut off from each other, they're not touching each other, they're not with each other physically, that's creating some other emotional consequences.
And that, I did want to ask or make a distinction between marijuana use and cocaine use and prescription drug use.
Yeah, the trends with regard to illicit drugs, which are heroin, cocaine, morphine, the street drugs, is down among adolescents. But unfortunately, prescription drugs, and again, they've just recently started looking at it for adolescent use, is at 1 out of 7.
Okay, and we're going to talk more about that in just a moment. We're just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the state of mind of teenagers will continue right after this break.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore 2 hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves him green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Hunger is a growing problem in our area, and a huge number of Suncoast residents are suffering in silence.
It could be your coworker,
your child's classmate,
or your friend fighting to secure their next meal. But you can help.
ABC7 is partnering with local organizations to help feed the Suncoast.
Go to mysuncoast.com/hunger to join the fight. Help us.
Help the hungry.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash.
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
What could be treasure?
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
I used to dread getting up and going to work.
I was done with the corporate grind.
I was tired of being a starving artist.
And I started looking around for a business that I believed in, and I kind of wanted to do something a little more green.
My SCORE mentor helped me take the first step.
He helped me create a business plan and helped me implement it.
They've really taught me how to think big.
SCORE helped me to make the unimaginable possible, all for free. I'm here because of SCORE.
I'm here because of SCORE.
Get your free business mentor at score.org.
Welcome back. We are talking about a new study that shows sex and drugs are down when it comes to teenagers, but depression and bullying are up. And joining us for more are PJ Brooks from First Step and Dr. Eddie Rainier, a psychologist in Sarasota. And PJ, in the aftermath of Parkland, there's been so much more attention in terms of looking into not only drug and alcohol, but the mental health needs of our teenagers there. Are we getting the message here in Sarasota in terms of our local schools and what these kids need to hopefully avoid, kids that go awry and do the things that we've seen on television?
I believe they are. I think that as we shared that we have the program at Sarasota High School, prior to Parkland, the decision was made to pursue the opportunity to expand to Riverview and Northport High School, which is going to happen. But beyond that, they're also looking at that behavioral health issues are often what drive why kids don't succeed in school, and also why kids often face the challenges that they face that ultimately lead to them blowing up like a bomb on their peers.
PJ, the good news here was that drug and alcohol use are down, but bullying and depression are up. Let's take that one at a time. I mean, there were always schoolyard bullies back when you and I were going through the grades, but why do you suppose it's up now?
Well, because kids don't have experience with each other anymore. It's all on the internet. It's all off social media. It's all Snapchat. And so when they get together, not only do they bully each other online, but when they get together, if you have a depressed child who's angry and something is happening they don't like, then and they're bigger, they can bully. So the opportunity to learn how to do conflict resolution, to talk through problems, that's getting lost. It's more you can go online or you could Snapchat something terrible about somebody and then you're anonymous, you're somewhere else.
A lot of people who are writing this, I can almost predict some of the viewer comments that are going to come in tonight and tomorrow, and that is, it begins and ends with parents at home, and if you can't raise your children, don't have them. I mean, is it really beginning and ending with the parents, or?
I think parents are doing a better job. The parents are being more hovercraft mom. They're following their kids. They're looking at their social media, what they're looking at. The parents are parenting. They're following the kids in cars. They're looking at what they're looking at on TV. They're monitoring better because they have the technology to do that. What's missing, though, is the human touch, how to conflict resolve, how to deal with when you don't like somebody, how you deal with your feelings. You can't do that just on social media. You need to be interacting with someone to learn to do that.
Is that an issue of resources that are no longer in the public schools but used to be years ago, or is it just that life in general has changed?
I think life has changed, and it's changing so fast we can hardly keep up with it. In fact, we're going to get to the days where school is virtual, where the kids don't have to go to a building to go to school. They're going to be at home. And that human element I was talking about becomes more and more the forgotten thing. And yet human beings were designed for contact, for touching, for interacting in the way we're doing in the studio, as opposed to talking to each other miles away from each other on a social platform.
You're opening up a can of worm here, because a lot of people are taking to homeschooling, which may be good for certain reasons, but it has always occurred to me that there is a huge part about going to school, and that is socialization and everything you talk about in terms of conflict resolution.
Intelligence without emotionality is a machine. It's dangerous. You need to implement the emotionality, the humanness of us as what makes us different. If we just do intelligence, we just program people with information but no emotionality, we've lost it.
PJ, what resources are local schools, not only here on the Suncoast, but from what you see in Manatee and the rest of the Suncoast and around Florida, are school systems putting more resources and more money into drug and alcohol counseling to make sure that these behaviors are that drug and alcohol use do not go back up as you say their trends are?
They're putting it where they can. And I think that community partners such as ourselves and other agencies around the state are looking at their own resources and recognizing, we need to step in somehow and partner with, like we did with the expansion of the program. Gulf Coast Community Foundation is assisting the school district with some funding support. But looking at how you can make those connections that we all have to jump in together. And if the easiest way to get to kids is to reach out through the schools, well then us community agencies need to integrate more, and I think that the districts are looking at that.
Let me ask you both about one other area, because we said sexual encounters among teenagers are down. That's also a good thing, but it also, fewer kids are using safe sex methods, and I would imagine that is problematic in a big way.
Well, our kids are much more informed than we are, than their parents are, because we do live in the age of information and they have time, so they spend time learning. But you're right. Sex is going to be less if kids are not together. At the same time, if they're using safe sex, they're not ready emotionally. They're also emotionally undeveloped because of lack of familiarity with each other. So we have major problems that we have to face. So what I like to, when I talk to parents, I said, you have to develop your child intellectually, emotionally, and faith-wise. So you have to create opportunities for kids to meet safely, to interact, to talk, to have conflicts where you can model how to resolve it. They have to also have a belief system that says that we need to be kind to each other, we need to attend and care for each other. So the faith-based part needs to be there, the emotionality needs to be there, and the intellectual development needs to be there.
We live in an ever-changing, society where the pace is changing. Both parents are usually working. Does that result in and of itself in terms of less socialization, because we're talking about after-school activities where kids are going from A to B to C without having enough time to actually slow down for a little bit and see what's important?
That is certainly part of it. Clearly our technology helps us monitor our kids, but it doesn't help us monitor them personally. So leaving a text message for your child to go have a Uber pick them up is not the same as you driving them there and talking to them when they're in a car with you. So we have to learn how to manage our technology better and understand human development better. And I think that part is getting lost.
I asked PJ in terms of the resources local schools are putting in terms of drug and alcohol counselors, but what about specifically mental health counselors in our schools? Are there enough resources, and do you see more coming down the pike, so to speak?
Well, clearly we don't have enough, and we need far more. We have decimated our mental health care system in this state and in this country. Now the governor has said he has released money for more mental health services. The legislature said they're going to do that. It remains to be seen that they're going to follow through, but we clearly need it.
I often quote this statistic that we rank dead last in the entire country in terms of the spending on mental health, and we will see if the legislature backs up that call from the governor in terms of money. But PJ, where do you see this going here? Because we have seen the consequences when everything goes wrong. We live through what our neighbors to the south in Parkland, lived through, and that was the consequence of a young man who slipped through a lot of different cracks in the system.
Yeah, I think my hope is that we're learning these lessons, and I think people are starting to wake up, and I give a ton of credit to the youth from that school that have really spoke out, not just about guns, but I think it's given a voice to the fact that we do need to have these resources, that these kids need to have that contact. They need to know they have a safe place. Some of the things we're experiencing at Sarasota High, their peers are now referring because they're worried about their friends. That's phenomenal. That's so positive. It's not a signal that there's more kids with needing help. There are always kids who need help. That it's been there. It's just that now if we can get them engaged and really work with them and give them a safe place, we change the environment to a much better one.
Okay, we have to take a quick break and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean works on all CPAP machines and popular masks, destroying CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and in just minutes, voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398, or visit SoClean.com today.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Imagine a world filled with pillow fights, playgrounds, and the search for the perfect climbing tree. Every kid deserves that world. But 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger. At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. PJ, what would you like viewers to take away from this study and what it says?
That that we can have a sense of hope that things can change, and I think that if we continue to see trends, that that we have keep supporting the changes that are being made with the integration between schools and communities and families.
But you're also very careful to say that even though the trend in terms of drug and alcohol use is going in the right direction, be aware because that can turn around very quickly.
It doesn't mean the job is done. The thing is it takes constant effort. You don't build a house by driving one nail. You know, you got to keep putting the nails in. You got to keep going forward, and I think we get lost in thinking that it's, you know, the job is done and see everything's okay.
Doctor, the reverse is when we hear about bullying is up, so is depression. You know, what's the quickest way to reverse that trend?
Well, I think, first of all, we need to take a bow. Parents are doing a better job parenting, I believe. At the same time, there are new challenges. The new challenge is isolation and the impact of divorce. So the best way to make things better quickly is really have a better relationship with your child. Talk more with them. Make time available, even in this busy world, make time available.
Let me ask you a specific question because you know, in many cases, our insurance does not pay for psychological treatment. Is that a big impediment in terms of keeping young people, you know, on the right track?
Absolutely. Parents frequently contact my office, and I'm not on the insurance panel. Insurance companies should not determine who treats a child. The parent and that professional should be the decision maker. And so we as a society need to put pressure on legislators to make sure that health care coverage is available for everybody. And mental health care is part of that coverage.
Yeah, good luck with that. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We want to thank both our guests, P.J. Brooks from First Step and Dr. Eddie Raniere, a psychologist in Sarasota. When we return, the FBI agent who investigated Hillary Clinton's use of emails was questioned by members of Congress today. But right now, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
We're waiting for the sunset. It should be a good one, too, tonight, Alan. We have these high clouds to mid clouds hanging around, and the sun just about ready to go below the horizons. And last night, it was just pink. It just lit up pink after the sun went down, and it looks to be a pretty good one tonight, I do believe, as we see the flat, calm seas out there with little wind at all. It's fairly calm, and that is a little unusual, but that's a result of the high pressure right over the top of us. And with that in mind, we're not anticipating much rainfall on Friday with just a few scattered storms. There'll be a few around, and most of that should be inland along the interstate and east. We have some bigger storms now in Highlands County. Not much going on near the coast. Coast is clear right now as far as rain goes. Some clouds. We had some heavier rain near Northport earlier. We had some heavier rain also just south of Parrish and east of Parrish. Near Ellington, the rain came down all the way down to State Road 70 and I-75. It came down just for a brief period of time, heard some rumble of thunder in Bradenton. But as far as accumulation goes, there wasn't much near the coast at all. There's that 1.3 total right there over north central Manatee County. And then in Northport, we saw a brief storm right there. And 0.8 of an inch, so some pretty heavy rain, just a short order. Now the forecast overnight calling for quiet conditions. I don't think we'll see anything like we saw a couple of nights ago when those big storms fired off, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. And we'll update the First Alert weather app if need be. You can see the Friday forecast, the sea breeze started to roll on into central Florida, and then they really start to meet up with the east coast breeze and the west coast, and they caused a little bit more convection to develop there into central Florida. Not much going on again on Saturday morning, 1 or 2 lone showers. The east coast again pushing on in toward the west late in the day. The rain chance jumping up a little bit on Saturday, but not all that much. It's pretty quiet in the tropics right now and the Gulf of Mexico. We have some strong shear taking place there, and that does not allow storms to really get going. We'll watch it though as we head into the peak months, August and September, but for the time being, things are pretty much shut down in the Caribbean as a result of those strong winds. Even if something were to pop up, like we saw with Beryl, it would get ripped apart if it were to move through there, and that's a good sign. There's the remnants of what was Beryl. It's heading off toward the northeast now, and there's still a very slight chance over the next couple of days, but a better chance after 3 or 4 days that it will develop. 88 in Jacksonville, so temperatures are cooling, but not as cool as it could be with those afternoon storms around. Still pretty warm in Mayaca City, Northport, Venice, Punta Gorda, all at 87. 88 still in Bradenton now, and Sarasota at 88. The Gulf water temperature, a warm 87, and the heat index has actually gone up within the last hour. It's up to 94 now, and the winds are very light. Look at that, 3 miles an hour. The pressure, 30.09 inches. And we will see another day like that tomorrow. 91 the high today, just a little bit above the average. 96 the record set back in 1989. Well, here's the forecast. Now this is again the heat index on top and the temperature on bottom. You'll notice by the noon hour we'll be at 100 pretty much, 99 degrees. It stays with us all the way through 4 o'clock. Now these symbols of showers, it won't be for everyone, just a slight chance for scattered storms. And this is basically the clouds moving in associated with the sea breeze. That rain chance still only 30% for a few passing showers in the morning. We'll get a look at these temperatures. 98 in Kansas City. It's 91 in St. Louis. It's been a hot summer over the Central Plains, even the Great Lakes, although they're cool now. It's been a very warm summer thus far. And 69, look at that cool reading in Boston. Much warmer in Washington. Washington got up into the 90s today as well. High temperatures, a little bit cooler in Denver at 89, 95 in Kansas City, St. Louis, a couple degrees warmer at 97 degrees, Dallas too at 97. Some other cities around the Northeast, Buffalo, nice 83, Montreal 79, the same in Detroit, Green Bay at 82 degrees, and the heat goes on over the central U.S. where Omaha is at 95 degrees, 79 with some rain nearby Dallas, so things have cooled down there a little bit. and 89 in Macon, Mobile, 87 degrees. Well, the satellite and radar review showing some showers, and that's at Boundary. To the south, it's much warmer. To the north, much colder. That zonal flow, you don't see any big drop to the south. There is a little bit of a trough right here over the southeast United States, and that is allowing us to see basically all the storms kind of heading off. We get the tower cam real quick. I want to show something that just kind of popped up. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but there it is. There's a sundog. I just noticed that right now, and you can see that sundog. It's another sun, it looks like. You'll see it right there in the middle of your screen. It's a nice capture by Tower Cam, so pretty amazing on that shot. Now we'll get to the 7-day, and we'll wrap it up pretty quickly here. A slight chance for showers on Friday, Saturday at 40% on Sunday as well, and then chances of 40% throughout much of next week. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
A policeman stopped.
Yeah, it was the lady parked next to me.
I called my wife.
My dad got up in the middle of the night.
My neighbor helped me out.
I called a tow truck.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for free installation and $10 off Duracell Ultra car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, and you're struggling to pay your bills while your case is dragging on, that's where Oasis Financial comes in. Only Oasis has Oasis Express Cash that can get you from $500 to $25,000 in as little as 24 hours, faster than anyone else. There's no risk and no out-of-pocket cost.
It was so simple. I made one phone call. Oasis was able to give me the money within 24 hours.
To pay for my electric bill, my rent, and my groceries for my children.
And even if you end up losing your case, Oasis lets you keep the money, so there's absolutely no risk to you. You don't have to worry about repaying Oasis.
If I had lost my case, then I wouldn't be responsible for paying the money back. And that was a blessing.
Oasis, they killed it, man. They helped me out. They gave me my life back.
See how much money you can get before your case settles. Call Oasis Financial, because life moves faster than your case. 1-800-874-8185. 1-800-874-8185.
When I was growing up, my mom told us, always treat others the way you want to be treated. She did business with companies that shared her values, like Mutual of Omaha. She had a guaranteed whole life insurance policy through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, a Mutual of Omaha company. When my mother passed away, her United of Omaha policy helped cover her funeral expenses and bills, and they had money on its way to us within 24 hours.
United of Omaha is here to take care of you. When you call the number on your screen, we'll help find the right policy for you. If you're between 45 and 85, you can get coverage up to $25,000 with no medical exam. Call us right now at the number on your screen.
Now I know I'll be taking care of my family, even after I'm gone.
United of Omaha guaranteed whole life insurance. Call or go online now. Be there for their future.
Checking primetime headlines, it was the first time Peter Strzok testified in public, an FBI agent speaking bluntly and sometimes combative with members of Congress. He was even threatened to be held in contempt. ABC's Serena Marshall has more from Washington.
It's a fiery hearing between an FBI agent and Republican members of Congress.
Nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Peter Strzok, who led the Hillary Clinton email investigation and then was assigned to special counsel Robert Mueller's Trump-Russia investigation, didn't back down when Republicans accused him of improper bias.
How many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman,
the chamber erupted in chaos when Strzok was finally able to respond.
The fact that you would accuse me otherwise, the fact that you would question whether or not that was the sort of look I would engage with in a family member who I have acknowledged hurting, goes more to a discussion about your character.
Strzok and former FBI lawyer Lisa Page, while having an extramarital affair, exchanged thousands of personal text messages over their work cell phones in 2015 and 16, including some that were critical of Trump as well as some Democrats.
Not once in my 26 years of defending our nation did my personal opinions impact any official action I took.
The main text in question, one he sent saying, "We will stop it," in reply to Page asking about Trump winning the election.
The suggestion that I, in some dark chamber somewhere in the FBI, would somehow cast aside all of these procedures, all of these safeguards, and the proposition that that is going on, that it might occur anywhere in the FBI, deeply corrodes what the FBI is in American society, the effectiveness of their mission, and it is deeply destructive.
House Republicans have also demanded testimony from Lisa Page, and after some back and forth, she has agreed to a closed-door interview tomorrow. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
Well, that was quick. Less than 24 hours after Stormy Daniels was arrested at a strip club, all charges have been dropped. The porn star was arrested last night while performing at a club in Columbus, Ohio. Her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, tweeted Daniels was busted for allowing a customer to touch her while she was on stage in a non-sexual manner. Avenatti called it a setup that was politically motivated. According to Ohio law, an employee who regularly appears nude or semi-nude at a sexually oriented business is not allowed to touch anyone. After reports the chairman and founder of Papa John's Pizza used a racial slur in a conference call, John Schnatter has stepped down. Papa John's says a new chairman would be appointed soon. Forbes magazine first reported Schnatter used the N-word while doing a role-play exercise. Schnatter later confirmed the incident and apologized for his use of the slur. He has long been the public face of Papa John's, which he founded back in 1984. Build-A-Bear Workshop's Pay Your Age Day attracted thousands of customers nationwide. Too many, in fact. Lines were so long, the retailer announced on Facebook it was closing lines in the U.S. and Canadian stores due to the overcrowding and safety concerns. On Tuesday, the retailer announced guests would be able to pay their age to build a stuffed animal, capping at $29 if parents signed up for the Bonus Club reward program. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohen. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.